2024 TE300 fuel injected versus 2019 300 XC carburetor. All right, so everybody knows we have our Dirt Bike Magazine project build right here. It's been a really cool build. We'll have the magazine pages for you to check out. Really cool. Fun, amazing bike. We like this bike a lot. I talked about this before, but last summer we rode our buddy Ricky's bike. He has a 300 XCW, so basically the same bike, but this one has the linkage. So it sits down a little bit shorter, which is nice for me. It does have that linkage that hangs down in the way, but I'm not doing a whole lot of hard enduro log crossing, so I think I'm okay. So I really like this platform. We went ahead and put our long silencer on there. We've been testing that, and FMF's gonna have a long version soon as well. Really cool mods from Jamie at Twisted, did the ECU mapping. We have our FMF, of course, Recluse torque drive clutch. Amazing looking bike. We went ahead and painted the frame white just because we could, right? Why not? The blue is not very good stock, so we went ahead and painted that with San Diego powder coating, DecalWorks graphics, Moto seat cover, and our IMS tank, and we're able to block off the oil filler right here and run our IMS tank. This bike is a premix version. Slavens Racing helped us get a block off for the oil injection, so now we just mix our gas, 50-to-1, Klotz R50, simple deal. So we control that. We think this is probably a better way to go. Most engine builders would rather do that as well. So one thing out of the equation takes a lot of weight out of there as well. When we bypass that, we use the V-Force reed cage, and that meant we didn't have to plug off the little thing, which you could do just fine, but we like the V-Force reed cage on there. We got that on there. The suspension on the stock TE and XCW bikes is really good. The XCW, of course, is PDS, but stock, they have the same forks, and we really like this forks, and Schmidt did a good job of setting these things up for us, a little bit bigger, and today, through these sand whoops, works really good, and the rocks. Really impressed with how well the suspension works, and it really helps in aiding the bike to feel really, really good through all the different types of terrain out here. So I'm really enjoying that suspension. I just think it's a home run. ICW always helps us out in the radiators. We get those strengthened up, and that's really nice, and we still leave room to add the Trail Tech fan, which we added to this bike. It didn't come with the fan, so we had to add that, and that was a nice thing to get added on here. I did overheat it a bit today during the days. I mean, never lost coolant, but for sure that fan was kicking on a few times, and Spencer's making fun of me. We're running our AT82 tires, front and rear, and then for part of the ride today, we switched our rear wheel to our AT81 EX gummy tire when we knew we were heading out to the more rocky, kind of slick rock, different types of trails. And so I really like that gummy tire in those types of really gnarly conditions. We have some good protection pieces on here from Bulletproof Designs. P3 on our pipe guard, Scar foot pegs. On our chain and sprockets from Pro X, we're running the stock gearing, which is pretty rare on most stock bikes. Really like it, even though it's a small 45 rear, stock gearing's pretty good. I don't see, some guys are adding a tooth or two to the rear, and I just don't see why you'd really need it unless you're just doing hard enduro. So this bike is the TBI, throttle body injection version. We kind of skipped over the TPI, and a lot of guys give me a lot of hate because they're TPI bikes, they have 1,800 hours on it and it's perfect. But that's not the case for most guys. They tend to have more problems. So we skipped over that generation bike, and this is our 2019 300XC. Now, they're not comparing apples to apples because I will say this, on this XCW TE version, it's toned down. It's a lot smoother and easier to ride than the XC version, which is much more like the SX. So I think for most trail guys, the TE versions and XCW versions where you're gonna wanna be. So this XC, already riding them back to back, is more like this bike, than the XCs of the 24. It's not as fast as the new bike. That's what we liked about these 2017 to 2019 carbureted bikes, nice and smooth. We have the Kian carburetor on here from with JD jetting, 38 millimeter, and Tom Morgan did the head. Also, Tom Morgan helped us on the head on this. We were able to put an XC dome on there, but it still doesn't make it like an XC, just so you know. The cylinder is different. It's not going to ever make the kind of power that the XC or SX does without some serious cylinder mods. You can be able to check out us riding both these things and talking about it. There is a huge year gap in these bikes, and the 25s are coming out right now. So those are available. It's going to be a very similar bike to this, but we're comparing bikes that are, 5-6 years old apart in technology and design. This bike definitely feels, everybody that's ridden it so far, everybody feels like this bike is a lot lighter feeling on the trail than this bike, which is kind of a surprise. So it's definitely lighter feeling, more nimble. feels pretty good that way. We're going to put a few more hours on these things today and report back to you and kind of give you our thoughts. If you have an older carbureted bike, do you really need to upgrade to the TBI bike? Is it how drastic of a difference is it? We'll let you know. Hey, winner, winner. Big surprise, the newer bike wins, right? But it's not all so easy. The bike is amazing. I think the stock forks on this bike, I failed to mention that earlier, are dual spring forks. This bike has air fork stock. Most guys that have an older bike have grown to love or hate their air forks. And so if they love them, they're fine with it. If they hate them, they've upgraded to some different forks, spring forks. So with a KYB conversion or WP forks, for most trail riding, the air fork is plenty good. And so I will say this right away, and Spencer thought the same thing, is that if you have a 2017, 2018, 2019 bike that's still in good shape and running fine, it's not like your life is going to change and you're going to be a way better trail rider on the 24. Is that what you think, Spence? Yeah, so it's not like this earth-shattering thing to where it's like, hey, I'm going to be a way better rider. It does feel better. And you could see in some of that footage we did, it was really cool looking footage on the rocks. It still accomplishes the same thing, right? And it's not life and death, big change. So if you have one of these that still is relatively low hours and still in good shape, stick with that carbureted bike, you're fine. And when there becomes something that's maybe more earth-shattering, we'll let you know. So really fun bike. I like it. We're gonna add this to our stall of bikes. I think I'm gonna be more at home on this thing, for me, more at home on the mountain trails. In the summertime, we do a lot of mountain trails. A little bit more at home on that stuff where it's just blip, 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 blip. In the desert stuff that's got more sand and more situations where I need to blip up, I think I'm a little bit more comfortable on the 4-stroke 350 life. So that's kind of my feelings on that. So, and I think Spencer kind of felt similar. He'd rather be on the 4-stroke, especially in the desert stuff, for him as well. So hopefully you enjoyed some of that really cool footage of this amazing riding area. Fun bikes regardless, right? So you can't go wrong. I'd like to thank everybody that helped out with this bike at Dirt Bike Magazine. Really cool bike. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and we'll check you out. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Okay, we are back. This will be like a postscript. Actual bonus for you is TE300. We've got quite a bit of time. We didn't finish out the video from early summer. Now it's mid-late summer. We've got a lot of trail riding. Spencer's got 2 full days himself. What'd you think of it then?
It was awesome. I really loved it.
He was really surprised. He actually wrote me one of the days. I was in California. He was up riding, and he writes me and goes, it was awesome. He had a good time riding it. Didn't miss the 4-stroke power. What else? What were your other thoughts on it?
Suspension and how lighter feels. Because one of the days I rode it back to back to my 450 and hopping back and forth. It just feels so much lighter and smoother, more nimble, and the power isn't lacking. Like there's nowhere I need more power, right?
Right, which is surprising because when you get on it, a lot of the big complaints about this bike is that they are slow. One thing I really want to get across to people, and we've had in the last few months, I've had a few people writing me and friends, family friends, the XC version or the TX version is a full race bike. It's a really gnarly bike. So I really recommend that bike to guys that are racing, riding desert, or really good riders who are fully aware of what they're getting. If you think you're getting an XC like our carbureted 2019 300 or that 2017 of Rados that we also got to ride on this trip, if you think you're getting something like that, you're not. It's a aggressive bike. So just know that. I want to really express that point on this new generation 23, 24, 25 XC. It's a lot like an SX. So just know that what you're getting into. So again, this TE300 is really at home in the mountains. I still think in the wintertime, I'm still gonna choose, I said this a few times, I'm still gonna choose my 350 XCF, I think most of the time, because I still want those fun hill climbs, the deep sand washes. But this bike for a mountain machine, for single track trails, I think is awesome for most guys. The only guys I think that might be disappointed in the power are guys that are, used to that, just want that hard hit for a mountain. But most of the hard enduro guys are riding TEs and XCWs. So they're getting enough power out of it and changing the gearing around massively. They're doing massive gear changes, putting a 13, a 12, even an 11 front sprocket to get them gnarly power right off the bottom for this things with the hard enduro guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed all that content. That's a lot for you. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Spence. If you're shopping for dirt bike parts, use our Rocky Mountain link. Really easy to do. Also, when you go there to our website or Linktree, we have other really good links and codes. Wiseco, ProX, Recluse, Cardo Systems. Really good things to check out and much more. it.